computer. Hello and welcome to another episode of Wellness with EAC. My name is Nicole Guanzura and I have the distinct privilege of being your host. If you are new here, welcome. We talk all things wellness at work. We talk about our faith journeys. We just talk about how are we balancing, not even balancing, how are we finding harmony in what you're doing at work, how you're managing your money, as well as how you're taking care of your mental well-being, right? Because if you're just focused on work, 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 none of those other things are getting taken care of in the way that they should. And you're a whole person. And we want to remind you of all the multiple beautiful facets of you. And we're having practical conversations on how you do that. Some days we're chatting one on one, and other days I'm bringing in some guests to talk to you about who they are. I think oftentimes when you see somebody on the internet, you see their LinkedIn profile, you see their Instagram, you see their YouTube, you just have these like, I don't know, assumptions or maybe connotations of who they are and feel like, oh, maybe they've always been there, right? They've always been that person, but you don't know what their journey has taken them through. You don't know what the behind the scenes looks like. And my hope is that each time you're listening to a guest conversation, we are pulling back the curtain a little bit on people's stories and seeing the person behind the job title so that you can resonate hopefully with something that they're saying, or maybe you look at something and say, you know what, maybe I can take a non-linear career path, or you know what, I see their story, maybe that's not something I want to do. That's okay too. That's the point of having these conversations. And one of my promises to you as I bring on guests is every single person that you hear on the show has been pre-vetted. We've been chatted. I know this person. They're going to give you the same energy that you hear on the show behind the scenes. And I'm so proud to say that with every one of my guests. And it's no different with today's guest. We go all the way back. So I'm so glad that she has agreed to be on the show. She is a singer, songwriter. She is a recording artist. She has been in the marketing industry by trade. She's got her MBA from Carnegie Mellon. I mean, she'll tell you all about who she is. She also just made her debut as a TikTok comedian, which I'm like, you know what? You go, because that's awesome. And I'm so excited for her to share so many multifaceted versions and pieces of her journey to who she is. So without further ado, I'm so excited to have Ohemaah and Ntiamoah on the show. Ohemaah, welcome to the show.
Hey, hey, thank you so much for having me, Nicole. It's my pleasure.
Oh my goodness. I'm so glad you are here and this conversation is happening. You are just doing some really awesome things and I'm excited for you to share that. So take us behind the curtains. Who is Ohemaah?
Yeah, well, this is me. Hey now, hey y'all. Yeah, Ohima is a woman. She's a woman of God. I am a Christian woman. Um, I am a daughter. I am a cousin. I'm an auntie, and I'm a marketing professional. But besides that, I'm also just a woman who's trying to just operate in all of my gifts. I feel like God has given me a lot of gifts. Thankfully, I'm grateful for that, and he's blessed me with a lot. So I'm just trying to steward it well, and I'm trying to tap into the different aspects of who I am and what I have to offer the world. So yeah, I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter, I'm a classically trained musician.
Mm.
I'm a recording artist. I produce albums, I produce singles, music videos as well. I just released my latest single, Runnin', which is available on all the streaming things and all YouTube and all that. Um, and yeah, for the greater part of some of the years, my family has found me pretty funny, you know? And so one fine day, about a year ago, I was having a conversation with one of my best friends and I switched into an East African accent. I'm originally from West Africa, but I grew up with a lot of like Kenyan and Ugandan friends. And I just switched into that accent and I was making him laugh. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to record this. Why not? And I did, and that video went viral, and I created a character off of it and just, launched a lot of things on TikTok and Instagram. So yeah, I'm a hybrid. I'm, like Whitney said, I'm every woman. Yeah, I'm one of those.
Yes.
That's who I
Yes, go ahead and belt it out while you are. I think that's just so beautiful and so authentically you because in every season of your life, I think it's just recognizing those gifts because there's not always, I mean, you've got your calling, you've got your purpose, you've got
am.
the thing that you're doing day in, day out. But I think what's so beautiful about all the things you do, right? In addition to them being God ordained, they just have so much synchrony, right? Because your creativity as a marketing professional makes so much sense because you can have creativity in the office and outside the office. And you have worked with so many companies, I think mostly a lot of like consumer product goods and like, but I mean, the industries and areas that you've worked in too, so different. Like it just speaks to your adaptability, no matter what you do. So it totally doesn't surprise me that you would just hit record and, it goes viral or you just belt out a
Thank
Whitney
you.
chord and, it is awesome. It is awesome. So, congratulations on the latest single. I'm going to link that actually in
Thank
the show notes for anybody that wants to see it. You want to subscribe to her YouTube channel so that you also don't miss as
you.
she drops some more. She's got some really cool music videos, and I love the versatility of them too. Um, so just kind of thinking about the season of life, right? It's a season where there's just some really cool things going on, but there's also like a lot of transitions and just life happening. Or is that like every season, right? Every season of life, something's
Might as
always
well be, honey. It feels that way.
right. Just when you think it's like all calm, something shifts. So just kind of reflecting on this last season, maybe the last 6 months to a year. Um, what are you really proud of?
Hmm. I'm proud of, because it has been an interesting season for the past few
Hmm.
months in particular. I'm proud of my resilience,
Mm,
and I'm proud of um, the lessons that I've learned along the way in this season,
hmm.
and the lessons that I've kind of tucked away and like written down and try to make sure to take inventory of, because I think
Mm,
seasons exist in your life to teach you things. They come for a reason, right?
yeah.
There's a reason for each season. So
Mm,
I'm proud of my resilience. I'm proud of my personal growth, and I'm proud of taking certain stands for myself when it was hard.
hmm.
And it was, yeah, like it was gutsy and bold, you
Yeah.
know? So I'm proud of that boldness, and I'm proud of advocating for myself and doing hard things.
Mm, yes. Because you can do hard things. We can do hard things.
And we can.
Okay, that is so important, and that reflection of that resilience, right? Because I always strongly believe some of the trials and situations that we go through, part of it, I strongly believe some of it, yes, it's part for us, but a lot of it is because God is utilizing that testimony so that it could even be a year from now. Somebody's going to come tell you about a situation you've been through that is so similar to what you're going through right now. And you're going to help them overcome, yes, by the blood of the Lamb and the word of your testimony.
Testimony,
And
exactly.
that's what's going to help them through. So I'm always like, some of these things, I'm like, God, we're going through this. I'm going to be resilient through this. But there's also like a 50% chance none of this had anything to do with me in particular, but for that person you're going to send my way in like 6 months that I bump into in the grocery store.
Yeah, yeah. Isn't that crazy how that happens? And I feel like God has been showing me through my friends and
Mm,
their testimonies that, of victory and of overcoming. Because sometimes I'm going through a patch where I'm like really just kind of holding on to hope. and
mm,
and in that valley portion
yeah.
where just kind of, Lord, I give it to you. Okay,
Yes.
and you're just holding on to hope, and it takes faith, and you're just kind of holding on to it. You're praying those prayers that are like, Lord, I believe, but help my unbelief. That's the
Yes.
scripture, right?
Yes.
I have faith, Lord, but Lord, you're gonna have to give me some more because it's running out a little bit. I need a
Yes.
re-up. And then God will send one of my friends with a testimony,
Mm.
to call me and tell me, I got the job or whatever else, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, okay, Lord, I see what you're doing. Cause it's like I told him to help my unbelief and he's helping
Hmm.
it because he's showing me through my friends during this season with testimonies popping up and this and that. And then he himself comes through with answered prayer as well.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it's sometimes it's not just for you. It's like how I write songs. I write
Mm.
songs sometimes I think the song has nothing really to do with me because it's not my personal story. So I feel
Mm.
like I'm writing for other people, but
Hmm.
almost always, Nicole, almost always when I go to release the song,
Yeah.
something happens where it becomes my testimony.
Wow.
Very interesting how that happens. Like I remember releasing my one of my second last latest single,
Hmm.
Fireproof. And when I was writing that song, it was just a song of encouragement for the world. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's not like I was going through anything. But the week that I was releasing Fireproof,
Hmm.
it was set to come out, I went through a personal health challenge where I was at home, like I had just been in the hospital and stuff. I had
Mm.
had a bit of a health challenge, and I was in a position where it was even hard for me to like really dance
Mm.
and celebrate. But I remember just crying tears and dancing
Mm.
the little bit that I could and being like, wow, Lord, so you mean to tell me that this song is for me too?
Yes.
And that keeps
Yes.
happening. So yeah, it's crazy.
Oh my goodness. And that one, Fireproof, is a jam. That you can't help but just like,
Thank you.
you just can't help but move to it. Like you can't not be encouraged when you
Right.
listen to it. Like, so
Thank
I
you.
love that you are encouraging those who are listening to it, but then it was that preparation for you.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
never, you're always expecting things to work when you have something planned,
Yeah.
and you're expecting it to work a certain way. And you're not expecting to release this amazing song while in between hospital visits. That's
Right.
not how it's supposed to work. It's
Right.
supposed to be a party, it's supposed to be a celebration. You're supposed to be able to dance, you're supposed
Right.
to recreate the moves from the music video, and you can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you still
It was,
praise.
yes, you still pray.
Oh, I love that so much. And just kind of in this, just thinking about your career and your journey, um, what has been your favorite job that you've had in your career so far?
I would say my time at Mars
Mm.
when I was in marketing roles at Mars, those are some of
Hmm.
my favorite times in the workforce. I think my job, my stint on M&M's
Hmm.
brand was pretty dope. It was during the pandemic.
Hmm.
I had the privilege of launching their big innovation for that year for
Hmm.
2021. It was called M&M's Mix. It was the one with three
Yes.
different M&Ms in one bag, and it had like three stripes, different colors,
Yeah.
milk, chocolate, peanut, and peanut butter all in
Yes.
the bag. And then there was a
Hmm.
second SKU that had like three different types of peanut M&Ms. It was
Yes.
addictive. It was kind of addicted. I got free bags at my house, and it was a bit of a bloating situation. But anyway, it was
Yeah.
delicious. But yeah, that was really great because it was challenging. It's the biggest
Mm.
brand. I also had a few other roles like and responsibilities on that brand, including like
Hmm.
overseeing the budget and things like that. And um yeah, so it was a meaty role and it taught
Yeah.
me a lot. And I had excellent, superb managers. I'm
Mm.
so grateful for to this day. My boss at the time, Tom Hedworth, and then my senior boss, Allison Miazga Bedrick, they were phenomenal.
Mm.
Everyone at Mars was great, but they taught me so much, and just the way they coached me and um, the way we interacted, and yeah, the types of things that I was like taking charge of and
Yeah.
practice. That was probably my favorite role so far.
I love that. And shout out to them. Having managers that just do what they're supposed to do and know how to be good managers, how to be good humans, right? It makes that experience that much better. And by
Yep.
the way, I had no idea you were responsible for my addiction because every time I walked into Walmart and there was that like shelf towards the checkout, it was
Yep,
a trap.
that was the one. Sorry.
That was, so the M&Ms, I was like, it's fine. I don't care for the regular M&Ms, but it's the peanut M&Ms I want. And then when those are done, I'm doing the peanut M&Ms.
Mm-hmm.
And so I could have my cake and eat it too. That's what it felt like with that bag.
Yeah.
And what was my other favorite Mars concoction? The still M&Ms. I don't know what it was about M&Ms because M&Ms have been around forever, but I
Yeah.
really applaud the innovation that
Yeah.
goes into that because it reignited a love. And my favorite were the M&M chocolate, peanut M&M chocolate bars.
Oh yeah, the bars. Yeah, I
The
remember those.
bars,
Yeah.
I don't know where they went, but they were my jam
Yeah.
for a
A friend of
while.
mine
There's,
wants those. Yeah.
oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, thank your friend because I was in Walmart on another day, on a day when I was not grabbing my bag of the the mixed M&Ms, and M's, and they're
Yeah.
setting up. There's a team that was setting up a display. I think it was for a holiday, and they must have thought I was like cuckoo bananas because I was like, please tell the person that put this together that they are a genius. This is my favorite bar, and they're just looking at me like,
Yeah.
is she fangirling over an M&M chocolate bar? And I was.
Of course. Why not?
Why not? So I could not have had them in my house
Right.
because it was dangerous. It was absolutely dangerous. And I think now I think they're just like a regular part of um just the M&M just they're part of the display, right? I don't think they ever went away. The bars did,
Bars
but
did.
that mixed bag is still there.
Yeah, I think they've cycled through because I remember planning like year two innovation and stuff. So
Mhm.
they came out with nut brownie mix, which was my year two innovation.
Oh, okay.
That one's like purple and yellow stripe.
Yes.
It's got the peanut M&Ms and the brownie M&Ms.
I had
So
to stay away. Y'all got me with that and then the caramel ones.
yeah.
And my dentist was like, loved my business
Not
for
your
that
dentist.
season.
Your dentist is like, Nicole, get a hold of yourself,
Get
girl.
a hold of yourself. But if you can't, I'll keep giving you root canals.
That's
Like,
hilarious, right? They won't hesitate, honey. They'll be like, "Okay, come on back." I have a TikTok video about dentists.
really?
I was like, I don't want to remove my wisdom teeth. I've never removed my wisdom in all my life. I don't think I want to start tampering with it now.
I need to
Oh,
watch that.
yeah, it was
I
funny.
need to watch that because that is so, so accurate. So, one, thank you. And
You're
my
welcome.
dentist thanks you too. Yeah.
You're all welcome. Everybody.
Yes. Yes. Oh my goodness. But that is, I appreciate you sharing that. It's just such an important experience, I think, for people to learn and just having that there. I mean, working in consumer product goods is such a cool thing. Like being able to be at the, helm of innovation of products that go out in front of consumers and you get to see the behind the scenes and seeing that product on the shelf, packaged, ready to go, and seeing people consume it, I can imagine that there's just something about that that you
Yeah.
can't beat. So, also not surprised that was the best experience, including managers, because a
Yeah,
lot of times I think there's a statistic or just a general saying about when people leave jobs, they're not necessarily leaving the job, they're leaving the manager.
exactly. That is spot on.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm glad. I'm so glad. So now tell me, I know that you had a cool like you had an interesting internship during from year one, right? In between year one and year two of your MBA program, and that kind of had a little bit of its own challenges. Can you just share a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, it's so fascinating because that was one of the yeah, on the spectrum of worst to best, that was probably one of the worst, personal experiences for me
Mm-hmm.
in my career journey, but it was probably simultaneously the most valuable,
Mm.
one of the most
Okay.
valuable. Yeah. So I'm not going to go into the details or anything, but it was a really topsy-turvy environment just naturally because it was in the middle of a merger.
Mm.
Yeah, so there was just a lot of nerves around the company at the time, a lot of
Yeah.
nervousness about job security. Layoffs were happening like right in front of my eyes. I remember I went to look for my mentor one day, and I was walking around with my laptop for our one-on-one. I couldn't find him, and I asked a couple people, and they're like, "Oh no, he's gone." And I was like, "What do you mean?"
Yeah.
Thought they weren't doing that till I think it was like August 14th or something. They had set a date. They're like, no, some of them happened early, so he's just, it was just, so it was a little bit, just to give you context, it was a bit, confusing. But
Mm.
there was something that happened that took me really by surprise, is just
Mm-hmm.
how I'll put it, that affected my actual like internship experience
Mm-hmm.
personally. So yeah, it just took me really by surprise, and it just kind of like made me lose a little bit of confidence and
Mm-hmm.
my sense of stability in the place.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought we had said this, and then, all of a sudden we're saying this totally opposite thing, and I can't really connect
Mm.
the dots. So I felt like I had the rug pulled from under me.
Okay.
That feeling that just kind
Yeah.
of rocks you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why I say it was one of my most valuable experiences, Nicole, is because that internship tried to knock my confidence
Mm.
in a way that was unprecedented up until that time in my life.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So I was a very confident speaker. I was very comfortable with, presenting and things like that. I did speech and
Yeah.
debate in high
Yeah.
school. That was my sport. I didn't do basketball. I did basketball in like middle school, but instead of basketball, I did speech and debate when we moved to
Mm-hmm.
the US in high school. So like I'm talking like state championships, the big trophies in my parents' garages and stuff. So like I didn't have an issue with public speaking, but after that internship, I remember coming back on campus at Carnegie Mellon, and the first time I had to present after the internship, I remember getting like nervous
Mm.
after before debate rounds. I would get the healthy nerves, and before I sing on stage, I get some healthy nerves.
Yeah.
Now less so than before, but I remember being nervous in a way that was like, oh, I don't even know if I'm gonna be good. Like I felt like my confidence was affected, and I had to really
Mm.
pull myself together and talk to myself. And I remember I think his name was Jared at the
Mm-hmm.
Accelerate Leadership Center at
Oh, Jared. Oh my
Yes,
goodness. He was
yes, he
amazing.
was. He helped me
Yes.
through that post-internship experience. I remember going
Yeah.
to, it was almost like my therapist. I don't know. That
I can
wasn't his
see
title.
that. I can
But,
see that.
yeah, I
Given his
remember,
personality, I can see that.
yes, I remember
Yeah.
going to his office and telling him about, he was like, so how did the internship go? Because I was doing the leadership program. So I
Yeah.
had some things before the internship, like and then report back, right? And I remember
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even really want to talk about it. At some point, I was like, Jared, I don't
Mm.
think I can talk about it very much because
Yeah.
I would start tearing up. But he helped me through, and with time, I started to like with that positive self-talk and reminding myself who I am in Christ. And my parents helped me too.
Mm.
And it's not necessarily that I did a bunch of stuff wrong. Like this is not all on me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the one of the lessons in that was not to allow yourself to depend too much on like everybody else's opinion,
Ooh, yep.
because when you do that, then you try to incorporate everybody's feedback, and they don't all agree with each other, right?
No.
So I shopped my presentation around too much during that internship, and I tried to appease everybody, and
Mm-hmm.
it muddied my own sense of truth. Like this is what the data is showing me and stuff. So that was a huge lesson. Like just be confident, Ohima. You're
Yeah.
smart. You know what to do with data. You know how to analyze it. Shop the thing around with the key important stakeholders, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Stick to your guns. You know how to reason well, and
Mm-hmm.
your expertise to make the conclusions that need to be made, make the decision, present it with confidence, and move on. And that
Yeah.
lesson has carried me through all of corporate and all my promotions, all of my roles. I
Mm.
learned to be confident in myself.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing, you know what you're talking about. If you have questions, ask,
Yes.
and once you gathered enough data, don't fall into analysis paralysis,
Mm-hmm.
don't fall into indecisiveness, because I've witnessed people do that and it's like a chronic thing,
Yeah.
and they spin their wheels forever and they can't make a decision. Don't fall into that trap. Like, once you know the thing, make a recommendation, put it
Mm-hmm.
on slides or whatever, however you do it in your industry, and run with it and speak with confidence. Half the battle is just speaking and reporting the thing with confidence. People
That's
listen to
true.
the confident one in the room,
Yes.
you know? So
Yes.
it was a terrible internship, very valuable lesson.
And you know what? Sometimes that happens, and
Yeah,
sometimes we have to go through that, and I think sometimes that's the point of an internship, because imagine had that been your full-time job post MBA, that would have been an even more jarring experience and tainting um, so much more
yeah,
than what you experience in a condensed time, and then coming back and having that support and leaning on your support system in order to start walking through that and recognizing your brilliance, recognizing whose you are,
yeah.
and who you are. I think that, yeah, unfortunately, yeah, some of that is just really difficult, but sometimes it's like, okay, I've got to go through it. And then when I do go through it, then that value you're talking about, then there's so much that happens down the road, but there's something about it, especially if you've been able to lean in on others, that helps you navigate better. Because one thing the enemy is going to do is try to confuse you and have you
Yeah,
curse yourself on a very obvious gift that you have.
right. That part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that's not always talked about. And especially, I think now in this day and age where it's just always a lot of like, especially on LinkedIn. I mean, it happens on Instagram and other social media platforms, but it's always this constant outreach of, oh, I'm so proud to announce that this thing has happened and this thing has happened and this beautiful thing. But there's so many valleys
Yeah.
that I think people start to talk about a little bit, but I think there's just some of those valleys that need to be talked about,
Yeah.
and that it's okay. That it's okay. And honestly, sometimes to the folks that were on the other side, the folks that hired you, the folks that are navigating that experience, maybe they weren't fully conscientious. Sometimes, you got to reflect a mirror back on folks for them to be like, yeah, because of that experience, I now have a choice to do better for the next set of interns.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, that's a choice too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like sometimes as women, we
Hmm.
feel the pressure to always look like everything's fine because we have to be there for everybody and a half,
Of
right? We got
course.
there. And, as Black women in particular, it's like in corporate, we got to show up and then some because, like, don't let you start to look a little shaky. It's like, all right, well, then your credibility kind of goes out the window because now
Yeah.
you're emotional Black woman, but everything's not peaches and cream all the time. Like,
No.
every experience is not roses and rainbows. There are some tough things. And I think sometimes we just kind of just swallow it and bury it and just move on. And you got to be
Hmm.
tough, tough, tough. But it's valuable to stop and pause and reflect on the truth of the matter. Like, yeah, that
Hmm.
was a crappy experience.
Yeah.
With every crappy experience, this is the thing that I'm learning in this season. Have a notepad and a pen. Just have
Mm.
a notepad and a pen handy, literally and figuratively, because there's a bit of truth in the mess somewhere,
Hmm.
but it takes humility to kind of weed it out. My pastor back in Phoenix, who's been my pastor since high school. He'll always kind of be my pastor in my heart.
Yeah.
But he always used to say a saying that stuck with me, what do you say? Chew the hay and spit the sticks, right?
Mm.
Like, so in every crappy experience, especially, whether we're working women or working men or whoever we are, or we're stay at home or working from home
Mm-hmm.
moms, um, sometimes it's hard to learn from the crappy experience because we know that we were in the right somehow,
Yeah.
we're wronged, but I've learned in retrospect, there's a bit of truth somewhere, then a bit of a
Mm.
lesson. Maybe there's a bit of a lesson in what you could do better, you
Yeah.
know? Like you don't want to admit it at first because you're hurt and because what's in your face is the wrongdoing of the other people. But if you take your time and it's like, well, could I have listened more than I spoke? Could I have done this? Like maybe the one little lesson here is I'm gonna focus on this part a bit
Mm-hmm.
more for the future.
Yeah.
By the time you compile all those little one-liners in your notepad with your pen, every crappy season that you have, you'll have a
Mm-hmm.
book of
Yes.
very valuable, like a whole wisdom book. I could give that book to me. I'll write a song about it.
Yes.
I'll
You
write
heard
a
it here
song.
first.
Come on.
Yes.
So yeah, there's a lesson and there's a bit of truth there somewhere.
It is. And that, I was watching something earlier today, a video, and someone was talking about that and recognizing, and I've been through that where if I just keep, after a while, I'm like, this situation keeps happening, right? Oh, this thing keeps ending like this, or this thing keeps up ending like this. But all those people couldn't possibly have just hurt me, and I was right the whole time.
Right.
There
Like
is, right. You're like looking and you're like, there's something that I did in here because
right.
all this is happening and I'm the common denominator.
Yes.
So I need to start assessing what's happening. And honestly, usually I'm reading this book by Michael Bevere called The Bait of Satan.
Mm,
And if you have not read it, it talks about offense and how
mm,
to navigate that. And
okay.
I'll tell you, it's not an easy read at
Mm,
all because he's going to poke at some things. Each time I start to listen to it on the audio version, then I listen and then I look at the book, there's just all this conviction of like, oh my goodness, there's some things I walk around thinking, oh, it can't be me. I'm not that easily offended. But just sit and observe your reactions in 1 week to certain
mm.
things.
Oh,
What is that thing that even though you're not showing it outwardly, but it's always going to make you tick?
now
Always
why
going to
did
make
you
you
have to
itch.
pull me on this podcast, Nicole, and start poking at me? Oh, slap us, G. Why you got to come? Why you bring me out here for?
Because I'm not going there by myself. We're all going.
Do I have to come?
Yes, you do.
Okay, fine.
Yes, you do. Because I feel like then as believers, there's some things that the Lord is like, you just keep asking and you're like, Lord, I'm being obedient. I am having faith in this thing. Help me with my unbelief. I'm going through this thing. But Lord, every single person, I act like they stubbed my toe. Every time that person, I say I've forgiven them and they irritate me, I know I'm still harboring unforgiveness.
Now, why you
So
got to be all up in my Kool-Aid, Nicole? Why you got to? What did he tell you? Did he tell you something? Why you got to be all up in my business, Nicole?
let me tell you, I was not expecting that. I was
Wow.
not expecting that at all. But if you're looking for a little
I ain't looking for nothing. I ain't
heart
looking for
shaking,
that.
and if
I
we're
ain't
going to
looking.
face things we aren't looking for, that book will help you. I actually need to go pick it back up because I keep reading it and I'm like, it's hard. I don't want to do hard things today. And then I close it. Go back. And then I'm offended by someone. And the same offense keeps coming up. And the Lord, I'm sure, is looking at me like, so when you said you were going to forgive them at church,
Right.
was that lip service?
Not the lip surface.
Are you going to pretend? Because I know your heart. My mercies are new every day, but stop playing. Like,
Stop
so,
playing in my
Ohima,
face.
that's it. Like, so
You're
I'm not going by myself. Every time I find something like
not
this that
going
I'm
by
just,
yourself, Nicole. I will refuse to join you.
we're going together. I'll
You're
ship
going by
it to you if
yourself.
you want.
You're not going together anyway. You will go by yourself. You're on your own. You're on your own.
That's my toxic trait. Every time I see something, I'm like, I'm not gonna cry by myself. I'm not gonna. We're going together. Read this book. My friend called me one time and she was like, I'm going through this and like I'm trying to experience this, and I was like, okay, there's a book I want to send you, and then I just sent her, and she's just processing, still processing.
Yeah, send me the book. I'm gonna tell you in 2 weeks from now. I'm still processing. I'm still processing. You know, a month from now, he might have you started about, Nicole, I'm processing, Nicole.
I've been
Pay
processing it for 6 months. Yeah.
this book is gonna wreck me.
I've been processing for 6 months and I have not made it past chapter 3.
She said, how many chapters are in this book, Nicole?
I have no idea because I've not found out. I don't want to flip to the other side.
She don't know. She
I'm not going there because there's things that you have to do and think about and face that offense. And then you're like, I don't know who I thought I was playing. I said I was going to forgive them, but I'm still harboring unforgiveness. Why does that thing still keep saying that? And now I know better, so I have to do better, but I don't want to.
that part.
I want to be mad. I want to be a little, I want to smile and pretend like it's fine, but it's not. And then just pretend it's not noticed. But now you know better.
I don't want to know better. Do I have to know better? Can I not? Let's not. I have an idea. Let's not and say we did.
You're not gonna put me in conviction with the Holy Spirit because he knows. Now we know that we've talked about it. We have it on recording.
You're making me itch, Nicole. You're making me itch. Why? Oh, this is not what I planned for. I'm going home. I'm packing my things. I'm going
You're
home.
packing your things. You said, you know what? I need you to do a bit on this, please. Like, and then just like because please, I'm gonna send you the clips of all of this.
Oh God.
But Ohima, we're going to reel it in and talk about things that do feel good.
I like that agenda. Let's go
Yeah.
there.
Let's reel it in. Let's step outside of the conviction. What does wellness mean to you?
Wellness. Ooh. Wellness, to me, it's very simple. It means being at peace with God, yourself, and other people.
Mm,
I think wellness is like wholeness to me. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
Nothing missing, nothing broken. When you have a good relationship with God, because you have to get your vertical relationship right first before you can ever have a shot at actually and truly healthy horizontal relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Because God made us, and that was the first relationship, the
Yep.
creator and the creation. So you got to get that right. Otherwise, you'll never truly, truly be at peace. This is what I believe. You will never truly, truly be at peace within yourself. There will always be something that's a little off. And
Yep.
it come out in how you treat people. So I think even when you have a solid relationship with God, that thing is ever growing. There's new revelation, there's growth there. So you're never gonna be perfect. It's not like
No.
Christians are you can just look around and see some of the hot mess. But I think wellness, is having your relationship with God right, because
Mm.
he brings a level of restoration and peace. The Bible says peace that passes all understanding, right?
Yes.
And
Jehovah
then,
Shalom.
yes, and then being right with yourself, because a lot of people, excuse me, they don't have a very good, they don't have a lot of introspection going on.
Mm.
So, um, and some people, like, I think we all lack self-awareness to some degree,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
Have blind spots. So I think wellness also has to do with like being at peace and with yourself and doing some introspection and
Mm-hmm.
being well within yourself. That's where like taking time to pause and like, people use different words and stuff. Some people have a problem with the word meditate, but I think meditating is good, especially like introspection and like journaling and taking inventory, listening to some of the feedback that you get,
Yep.
even if it's feedback, you know. yeah, being right with yourself, doing the
Mm.
work, if like that involves therapy, whatever it takes,
Yep.
and then being at peace with other people. Because when you listen, let me tell you something. This is where my African comes out too. When you don't treat people well, everybody can see you, this girl, you are not well. Like, there's something like low-key, you decrease, you are not well. Like when you don't treat people
Basically.
well, when you treat people like crap,
Yeah.
what you take that to be, it's like, something's off with you. Like, excuse me? The
Yeah.
audacity, the disrespect. Like, people say that you must be unwell. That's because there's a correlation between wellness and how you treat people.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Oh, that's good. I'm going to be meditating on that. I'm going to be meditating on that.
yeah,
And I appreciate you sharing that because not we don't always take time to reflect. We don't always take time to really just be at peace. I was telling you earlier today, I was like, I just scrapped my meetings earlier in the day because I could have kept pushing, but
yeah,
my body was saying, go to bed, go
yeah,
to bed, go sleep, go. And then I ended up, and I was like, oh, I'll wake up around 1. No, I woke up an hour ago. Like, it's just, but I needed that. I
yeah,
needed that. And maybe after this, I'm going right back into bed. I don't know. But like that just feels good to
yeah,
me. That feels and makes sense because that's what I'm seeing that I need. And that's what my body's telling me. That's what my mind is telling me. I feel at peace when I can just like take the time. Um, and so while it's not necessarily it's a little bit of reflection. It's a little bit of like recognizing, hey, I need rest. And
yeah.
then it's in the mornings where I'm like, okay, I'm going to meditate on the word.
Yes.
I'm going to figure this out. And every time I'm about to say something, then I think about it and I'm like, this thing I'm about to say, who's it going to benefit?
Mhm.
Is it worth coming outside of my mouth? Sometimes it does. And the whole time you're saying it, you shouldn't. The entire time you're like, don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh, that just happened to me about 2, 3, 4 weeks ago.
See? Yeah. And you're like, I'm not going to, but it just feels better if I do. I feel bad 10 minutes from now,
Right.
but the keyboard warrior in me wants to go ahead and say it.
Keyboard warriors, you people, you cause trouble. Who am I talking to? Sometimes I'm a keyboard warrior too.
Right. That's it. I'm like, no, I'm trying to be so conscientious because I don't do it all the time. And we're not perfect, right? Part of being a Christian is like recognizing that, he, Jesus's strength is made perfect in our weakness. That sacrifice he made was so that we can just fall on him and just be so dependent on him and know that he's not man. He cannot lie. His promises are true. And whatever we need, like he is a shepherd. You don't need for anything. You don't need to want for anything. If something is bothering you, he already knows. He's ready to embrace you. He's ready to discipline you too, because he wouldn't be a good dad otherwise. But I think that part of just like learning every single time and reflecting. And then as you're like being mindful, you start to pick up your phone and you're like, I'm going to do better.
Mhm.
I'm going to do better because what is that saying on the other side? How is that reflecting of who I am? How is that reflecting of whose I am? If I'm saying this is the kind of person I am and this is who I represent, how are they going to know that if I'm the only version of Christ they're going to see?
Yeah,
Is kind of what I'm going through right now.
yeah,
Just kind of reflecting on in that wellness because we're
yeah.
humans and life
Well,
just keeps lifing.
and speaking of life keeping lifing, I want to touch on this aspect of wellness too,
Mm,
because this season of my life, um, I've learned that wellness is also not feeling obligated to be everything to everybody all the time.
mm,
I think a part of wellness is not living in a performative state.
Yes.
which is easy to fall into, when you have a lot of responsibility, or you're a lot of people's friend, or you're just trying to be a good, daughter, friend, sister, brother, whatever it is, or
Mm-hmm.
parent. I'm not there yet in my journey, but I know I will be one day. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you have a lot of things tugging on your arms, and you only have two arms, right?
That's
And
it.
it's like everybody's, but you know what? Sometimes you have to um just allow yourself the time and the space to prioritize yourself a little bit,
Mm.
you know, without guilt tripping yourself for it.
Keyword.
Yeah, because I think as women, sometimes we fall into that trap. We feel
Mm.
like everybody needs me and everybody will always need you. Like that's never
Yes.
going to change. But at the same time, I firmly believe that people's happiness is their own responsibility. Everybody's responsible for their own happiness. You don't even go into a relationship putting the onus on somebody else, the other person, to quote unquote make you happy. That is too much of a burden for any one individual to
Yeah.
make another person happy all the time. Are you kidding me? Like
Mm-mm.
that's a lot. I didn't
Yeah.
create you. I didn't even birth you. Like even my mother can't make me happy all the time, and she birthed me. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
not you can't put that on somebody else. Same way, you cannot be all things to all people
Mm-hmm.
all the time. That's why people need to get their strength from God. People need to realize that He is our source and He is our provider. When you start putting that onus on another human being, a flawed human being, a fallible creation, they're going to disappoint you, right? So,
Every time.
yeah, you have to allow yourself time for yourself and stop guilt tripping yourself like, oh, because sometimes I find myself in this trap where I feel like I've been a little still for a little too long, like, and you start
Mm.
getting this feeling, almost like the Sunday 4 p.m. feeling like, no, I should be doing something. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've been sitting still for too long. Like this is too much enjoyment. I feel like I should get up and do. Sometimes you gotta
Yes.
push yourself to like take care of yourself and say no to people sometimes. Wellness, part of wellness is learning how to say no
Yes.
in a loving way and taking space. Stop letting everybody guilt trip you into feeling like stop letting everybody rope you into their own sense of entitlement when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
time or your resources. Like be there for people. Yes, there's a time for everything though. There's also
Yeah.
a time to invest in yourself, and that's part of wellness.
That's powerful. That is powerful. And I think that is a great way to cap this conversation because we've talked about so much. Delved into some really deep things and deep conversations and experiences. And I think culminating into just remembering. I feel like almost people need to listen to the end of the episode and come back and use that to approach the beginning of the episode, and just take it in bits. Like I encourage you to just take that notebook, right, the pen and paper for this one, and write down those things. If you need to come back and do two parts of this, do that because this is just filled with so many gems. So, Ohima, how do people get in touch with you if they want to connect? Maybe have a question, maybe they resonate, maybe they're like me and they're like, how did you come up with that innovation at Mars?
Hmm. Well, I am available via email,
Hmm.
ohemaahn@gmail.com. I'm also on the socials. On Instagram, I'm at Ohima Music. I have a nice little slide that I'll send you that kind of has
Perfect.
that rounds it up. And then on TikTok, if you want to laugh, if you want to laugh small, just tickle and giggle, then you can find me on TikTok at Queen Ohima. You know,
Oh my goodness.
other people
That
had already taken my Ohima Music name on TikTok, so I couldn't do Ohima Music. That's why I had to do Queen Ohima. But Ohima means queen, so that's why.
I love that. I love that. All the things, and I'm gonna link that in the show notes so you're able to connect with Ohima. Don't forget to subscribe to her YouTube channel, her TikTok. Like, I mean, you're just gonna see all facets of Ohima. Ohima, thank you so, so much again for being a part of this conversation. I really, really appreciate you.
Aw, thanks, Nicole. Don't make me cry now. I got my good lashes on
Got
today.
your good lashes. I have no mascara
And
today
you see, I'm
because
about to fly away. If you bring fan just now, I'll just flutter like a bird. Can you see my good lashes?
I
Hey,
see your good lashes and they
you-
look good on you
I'll,
though.
I will shine my eye for you. Can you see
Yeah,
I'm shining?
I see it. You're shining. You're shining, my sister. You're shining.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Oh,
you.
my
This is such
pleasure.
a beautiful full circle moment. From the Tepper days. And now here we are in the season of life. And I'm so grateful for this conversation. I'm grateful for everyone that is listening to this conversation. If you are listening to Ohima and I on Spotify or Apple Music or Listen Notes or wherever, honestly, just Google Wellness with EACE. Head on over to YouTube because you're going to be able to see the video. You're going to be able to see Ohima shining her eye. You're going to be able to see
Where
her
is
AF
L'Oreal? Cover girl, come and sponsor me. Oh.
cover girl. Come check her
Maybelline.
out.
Maybelline, I'm here. I'm waiting for you. Write me a check now.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Maybe. Or
Maybe,
maybe it's
maybe.
just Ohima.
Maybe it's just Ohima. You know,
Right.
Calgon, come take her away. um,
Oh, my
thank
dear,
you.
it's always a pleasure with you. It's always a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. And to all the listeners, I just want to say thank you. You got a good one. Nicole is a gem, let me tell you. She was one of the faces around campus that I most look forward to seeing every day. So
Now you're gonna make me cry. Okay,
she's a treasure. Yes. Bring your waterproof mascara. Bring it.
I'm just not gonna put it on.
Oh, okay. Well, there's
I'm just not going to
like
put it on. Thank you. Thank you. And until next Wednesday, we'll be back on the show. Until then, everybody take care and be well.
bye.
Bye.